Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage at Merton Hyundai. Today we are looking at the 2021 Honda Passport. This is the Touring Edition, so very, very well equipped. Now, I don't normally do reviews on Hondas, obviously, being at a Hyundai dealership. However, this is a fairly new vehicle. I have an interested party, and I'd like to provide all the information that I can. So I figured a video review is a good way of doing that. But anyway, let's cover the features from front to back. Now, this one is equipped with a 3.5 liter V6, makes about 280 horsepower, 262 foot-pounds of torque. So it's actually a really good, strong engine. This motor has been around for quite a while for Honda, and it's done very, very well for them. Good, reliable vehicle. Now, on the front here, you can see we've got the nice, smooth Honda badge. Now, of course, behind there is the forward-facing radar for the adaptive cruise control and autonomous emergency braking. You can see we've got reflector-style LED headlights. We also have LED daytime running lights and LED reflector-style fog lights. So that's pretty cool. Also in the front, you can see we've got the parking sensors. So there's parking sensors on the front and rear. On the front, though, they're just in the corners, not in the middle, but they still pick up objects in front of the vehicle just fine. Now, there is going to be a few aftermarket accessories on this vehicle, as it is a pre-owned. So ignore the things like the hood deflector and the mud guards and stuff like that. Ordinarily, that wouldn't come with it. Up in the window, you can see we have a forward-facing camera. That, of course, is for the lane keep assist and probably part of the autonomous braking system as well. Right beside that, we have the little sensor there for the auto wipers. So nice touch, automatic wipers. Coming around the side, we can see we've got 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels. So beautiful wheels in this. They're a 265/45 R20, wrapped in Continental cross-contact mud and snow rated tires. Legal to use anywhere in British Columbia at any time of the year. They're not winters, but they're in all season. Side marker repeaters on the mirrors here. Now, this is actually a power folding mirror, which is nice. It does have blind spot monitoring, but that's inside on the A-pillar there. And what I really like about this design actually is that it has a little window here. It's a peek-through window so that you don't have as much of a blind spot in the A-pillars. The window, or the mirrors themselves, I believe are auto dimming. They are definitely heated though. You got proximity entry on the door handle there. And then you'll notice the side rails. This is kind of nice. I quite like how they do this actually, because you can tie down to these side rails. You don't necessarily have to buy cross rails if you're not going to use them very often, because you can just tie right to the side rail, which is quite nice. Coming around the back, we've got LED taillights here, and backup camera is right there. We got chrome twin tip exhaust. This vehicle is equipped with a trailer hitch, not from factory, so that's been added on. You can see the backup sensors on the bumper as well, so 4 sensors there. And really nice dark tint actually, so that goes really, really well with the black color of the car. Now, one of the greatest features of the back end here, of course, has to be the kick to open tailgate. So you just simply kick your foot down below there and it should open up. There we go. If you do it right. So there it goes, it's opening up. And that reveals a huge amount of trunk space. So this is massive. I cannot reach the back of the seats. They're too far away. I can thankfully reach the privacy cover, which again, I don't believe is included in purchase, but the previous owner did buy that. Quick access to fold down the seats here. So you just quickly press that button. Well, you don't have to quickly press the button, but you press the button and the seats fold down rather quickly. You'll notice actually it's completely flat as well. So if you do want to use this to sleep in overnight, maybe you're camping, there's actually a nice flat floor with those seats down. One small gripe is that the tailgate doesn't open up very far. So if you're more than about 6 feet tall, you're going to bang your head into that if you're not careful. All right, underneath the floor here, you can see we've got some storage. There's the wiring for the trailer hitch. And then there's additional storage under here, but then also the spare tire there as well. Little storage cubbies on both sides and a 12-volt power outlet there as well. And some nice tie downs. There's tie down there, tie down there, tie downs over there. These are funky looking tie downs actually. Look at this. It's kind of interesting. It kind of almost looks, well, I wanted to say it kind of looks like the Honda badge, but on second look, it really doesn't. All right, let's move on to the back seats. All right, so we got some padding on the door rest there, which is nice. It does have the center folding cup holder armrest. There's a total of 6 cup holders in the back here, which is kind of crazy. So you got 2 on each of the doors and then 2 in the center cup holder armrest. You got seat back pockets on both of the back of the front seats, and you got heated seats back here and a third climate control, automatic climate control. So 3-zone climate control in this vehicle. You've got a 110 volt power outlet here, which opens up somehow. There we go. So there's your 110 volt power outlet. You 2 USB ports there as well, both putting out 2.5 amps. All right, so as far as sitting back here, it's reasonably comfortable. I've got grab handles basically in all 4 corners of the vehicle. This seat actually is capable of sliding as well, so if you need a little bit of extra storage space in the back, can't imagine why you would, because there's a ton of storage space back there. Yeah, nice leather interior. You got that perforation in the seats there, which is kind of nice. And yeah, lots of storage in the door. I can recline the seats a little bit as well, so it's a pretty comfortable place to be. All right, let's check out the front seats. Okay, first we're going to look at the passenger seat and see what sort of luxuries they get. So they do have a power seat, which is nice, so it goes forwards and backwards, and of course the seat back leans as well. This one doesn't have the height adjustment on this side. The armrest is a ratcheting armrest, which is kind of nice. So what that means is you'll notice when I lift it, it makes a little ratcheting noise, and that's because you can actually ratchet this up to wherever you need it to be. So if you're sitting up very, very straight, like that, we can actually ratchet this armrest to be level, which is nice. And if you're leaning back, well, then of course we can ratchet the armrest down so that it's also straight. All right, before jumping in the driver's side, I want to point out this vehicle does have remote start on the key fob here, so we're going to go ahead and fire it up. And then we'll get into the vehicle. Now, you don't actually have to press the proximity button to get in. Basically, you just pull the handle twice. Now, that time it was already unlocked, but normally if you just pull the handle, it releases, you pull it again, and then it opens up. So, before we jump into the car, you can see here we've got memory seating and mirrors, got quick access for your tailgate and your fuel door there. The driver's seat has a little bit more luxury. You got adjustable tilt, adjustable height, and of course forwards and backwards, and then your backrest, and it also has lower back support. I love the icon they put on there, a little picture of an arrow shoving the bottom of the seat out. So basically it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-way power adjustable seat, and of course 1, 2, 3, 4-way manually adjustable seat. So starting on the left side of the dashboard, you can see we've got an eco mode here, which is nice. That's going to save you a little bit of fuel, mainly for highway usage. Got heated windshield wipers. You have the ability to turn on and off the parking sensors there. Here's your lane keep assistance, your forward autonomous emergency braking, which you can quickly turn off there as well. Of course, this vehicle is equipped with stability and traction control. Above that, we have your mirror controls. Now, this button here is kind of nice because this vehicle does have power folding mirrors. So if you're doing any sort of off-road Forest Service road driving and you want to quickly fold your mirrors in to avoid getting bashed by trees, that's kind of nice. We have a tilt and telescopic steering wheel, so that's kind of nice. And then having a look at the left stock here, of course, it does have automatic headlights, and it has high beams as well. Sorry, it has fog lights as well, which I showed you earlier. High beams, of course it has high beams. On this side, you can see we've got automatic window wipers, as I mentioned, so that is the adjustment for the intensity of the automatic wipers. And then, of course, you have your rear wiper there as well with an intermittent option. All right, on the left side of the steering wheel controls here, you can see we've got some controls for that screen, but they also control some of the stuff on that screen. So, by the way, don't worry about the flickering. That's just in the camera. It's not actually happening in real life. But yeah, you got your answer, hang up, your voice recognition here, your back button. But yeah, you can control some of the stuff on that center screen with these buttons here. So if I hit home, for instance, you can see I got a few different options in the instrument cluster there. And then, of course, your volume control. This vehicle does have paddle shifters as well, so your gear up and gear down on the back of the steering wheel. And then on the right-hand side, you can see we've got cruise control with the adaptive option right here, so you can change the distance that it's following the vehicle in front. One thing that I really wish Hyundai had as well was the option to disable adaptive cruise control. So you can see if I hold this button down, it goes from cruise mode to ACC mode. So that's basically adaptive cruise control. So that's a nice feature, being able to enable and disable that. You have the lane follow assist here at low speeds, also a lane departure warning system as well. And then the main button here basically just shuts everything off and on by the looks of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got a heated steering wheel. And as far as where it's heated, well, let's see here. So the top is heated. The grips are heated. Don't feel it quite as... Oh, that's probably because they're perforated. Yeah, looks like all the way around is heated, which is nice. All right, having a look at the center console, you got a huge storage console here. There's a ton of space in here. There is also a 12-volt power outlet as well as a USB port. And then, looks like... I'm not sure what's going on here, actually. Looks like maybe optional ports for optional controls. There is a little storage tray there that slides back and forth. That's kind of cool. So lots of storage space in there. We've got, of course, your dual cup holders. You have shift-by-wire. So one thing that's really nice about that shift-by-wire system is that when you take your seatbelt off and open the door, if you haven't already put it into park, it quickly switches into park for you. That's really nice. Also, when you shut the car off, it does the same thing, puts it into park for you if you haven't already done so. All right, so below the shift selector, you see we have the drive mode button. Now, it's a little bit vague because it doesn't actually say drive mode. It's just got a picture of a passport on what looks like a bumpy road. So when you press that, it actually changes from normal to snow, mud, and sand. So you can see we can kind of cycle through those different settings. And then right below that button is the auto start-stop button. That, of course, will stop the engine from shutting off when you come to a stop at a stop sign or stoplight. A little further up, we have a wireless charging pad, yet another 12-volt power outlet, and yet another USB port. Now, that USB port probably connects directly to the screen, would be my guess, because, of course, this vehicle does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Not sure where it says in here exactly, but there it is. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which for some reason is disabled. Not sure why you'd ever want to disable that. See, it's also got an AT&T hotspot, which is kind of cool, so you can supply wireless internet to your passengers. We also have Honda Link, which is their telematics system, so remotely accessing your vehicle from your cell phone. We're going to get back to this stuff in a moment. Let's have a look at the rest of the things here. So we have heated seats, and these are automatic, actually. So I noticed when I got into the vehicle that the heated seats were already on. So I'm guessing if it's cold outside, that just comes on automatically. You've also got ventilated seats with nice blue lights there, and of course, 3 levels of seat ventilation. Right above that, you can see we've got the dual zone automatic climate control, and you can also enable and disable the rear climate from here as well. Now, the RR settings is basically taking you directly into the rear climate control settings, where you can then adjust the fan speed and the mode and stuff like that. You can also lock out the rear control, so if you have people in the back playing with it and you don't want them to, you can do that real quick. And of course, you have your front and rear defrost. And the rear defrost button, you can see, also enables the mirror defrost. All right, before I talk about that screen, let's have a look at the headliner here. So I've got a nice black headliner. You got a sunglass holder here with a built-in mirror, so that's kind of cool. So there's me, if you want to see the kids in the back seat. You have controls, of course, for your sunroof. Now, this one does have the ability to tilt the sunroof and also slide the sunroof. So you can tilt it up, or you can slide it back, just like that. Let's see how far it goes open. Now, this, of course, does have the sunroof shade or sunroof deflector on it as well, but otherwise it opens up reasonably large. And of course, it has a manual shade to close it, so we're going to do that. You also notice here we got the Honda Link button to access Honda remote assistance, and then also a SOS button or assist button for emergencies. Now, as far as the sun visors go, we have 2 sun visors, both with lights and mirrors. And do they both slide? Let's see. Yes, that one slides, and this one presumably slides as well. Yep. Okay, so no problems there. All right, next let's have a look at the mirror. So it is a auto-dimming rear view mirror, and it's got the home link buttons on it as well. All right, let's quickly go over the instrument cluster here. So you got your temperature gauge on the left, your fuel gauge on the right, your speed right in the middle, digitally, of course, and then your tachometer is this little line right here. P is for park, and then you got your mileage in the bottom right-hand corner. It also shows that we're currently in eco mode, and it's 3 degrees outside. Now, as I mentioned, some of the buttons on the left of the steering wheel control what's in this screen. So basically, the way that we're going to go navigating through here is we got the home button, which always takes us back to that screen, okay? And the back button, once we're in a menu, we can go back from there. And of course, we have the up and down and the enter key. I didn't really see any options that this did anything with, but there was one little weird spot that I'm going to show you. So anyway, it says show hide app. So if I hit enter, it's going to go into that menu, and I can actually choose what sort of different applications I want to have displaying on the home screen. Now, what's weird is that some of these are just locked out and you can't actually uncheck them. So not sure. But anyway, so you can see we got the little check mark in there. If I press it, it turns that off. But that's what that's for. So it's kind of like a customization. We hit the back button here, goes back to the home screen, or I could have also just hit the home button. Go down to Trip Computer and enter into that. You can see we have our distance, average fuel, and current range till empty. Now this is what I thought was kind of weird. We have A and B, but to switch to B, I don't hit the down button, I just hit the enter button. So I thought that was kind of funny. Like, why not just have the up and down arrows go between A and B? But whatever, that's what they decided to do. And if I want to reset this, I would just hold the enter button to reset. So the enter button both switches between the two and resets the two. Which, yeah, a little bit weird, but whatever. Hit the back button here, and that takes us back to the home screen. We can go to all-wheel drive torque. So it shows us a cute little picture of the drivetrain in the vehicle. And if I put the vehicle into drive now, let's put it into drive, not reverse. And then I hit the gas, you can see it actually puts power to all four wheels right away. So a good responsive all-wheel drive system. There we go. And of course it does sort of favor the front a little bit. That's okay. You can see we got approaching object reversing. So that's kind of cool. So that's the backup sensors going nuts. Speaking of the backup sensors and backup screen, you can see here we do have a nice high resolution screen with dynamic steering lines as well. It looks to be about a 7-inch screen, roughly. But yeah, let's get back to the instrument cluster. So you can see here we have our all-wheel drive info screen, which we were just looking at. I back out of there, and I got access to the phone menu, navigation menu, and I can actually enter into the navigation menu and go home, go to saved or recent, right from the instrument cluster, which is interesting. I can also see the now playing, so what's actually currently playing on the radio. I go to the maintenance screen here, which shows me tire pressure as well as oil life, which is at 100% right now. And then I got the settings here, which I can use to just arrange the applications on the main screen and enable and disable the tachometer. If I go down one more time, I can change the units to miles. I can also blank out this screen. And I can also go to the Android Auto settings, Sirius XM, basically all of the music sources if I want to kind of configure from this screen, which is interesting. I don't know what social playlist is, so forgive me. And that's pretty much it on the home screen there in the instrument cluster. I didn't really see any other configuration. But yeah, next thing would be the infotainment screen. So on the infotainment screen, we've got a couple of touch-sensitive buttons here on the left, and they work reasonably well. I'm already in that, so yeah, works okay. We got brightness and contrast here, so let's turn that up a little bit. I've also got a volume knob, which is a nice touch, and it's also a power button for the stereo. If I hold it, does it do anything? No. Okay, so it's just a power on and off for just the stereo itself. So a phone takes me to the phone screen, of course, where I can dial phone numbers or look through contact lists, that sort of thing. If I hit the navigation button here, you can see it uses a Garmin navigation system. As far as, yeah, it's pretty responsive. See if I can, yep, uses pinch and zoom as well. Nice looking map, everything's quite clear. I have a 2D mode or a 3D mode. I also have the ability to rotate right from there. And this button here takes us to map layer, so I can choose what I do and don't want to have showing on the screen. Breadcrumbs is interesting. So off-road breadcrumbs, if you're taking a trail somewhere and there is no road listed on the map, you can actually leave breadcrumbs so you can find your way back really easily, which is kind of cool. Also has traffic, 3D terrain, 3D buildings, saved places, and places along the road, points of interest. So pretty good system. Of course, Garmin's been in the business for a long time, so no doubt that that's going to be a reasonably good navigation system. And of course, you can navigate using voice, so let's give that a shot. I have no idea how it likes to hear things, but we'll try. Find the nearest Walmart.
Pardon?
Navigate to Walmart.
Say a city and province in Canada.
Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada.
Pardon?
Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Did you say Chilliwack, British Columbia?
Yes.
Chilliwack, British Columbia. Would you like to start navigation?
Okay. So clearly I'm not actually speaking to it in the way that it wants me to speak to it. Let's try navigating one more time here a little bit differently. Navigation.
Say a navigation command.
Find place.
Say a place.
Walmart.
Searching for Walmart.
There we go.
Select an item.
All right. So basically you just have to
Walmart.
know...
Would you like to start navigation?
Yes. So you just have to know how it wants to hear things, and when you do, it actually works really, really well. So keep that in mind. Anytime you hit voice recognition on any vehicle, most of the time what they'll do is they'll actually put suggested things that you can say. So say an option below. The downside is that it doesn't have the option to just basically say that in one string, at least not by the looks of it. Anyway, looking further here, so we have the home screen again. Settings, we'll go into there real quick. We got system settings, so that's for the touchscreen itself. We can do a factory data reset from there, which is cool. I'm going to do that later. We have vehicle settings in here as well. Let's see, we got driving position set up. So you can actually, see here, memory position link. So turns the driving position memory system on and off. That's on, so we'll leave that, of course. Power tailgate setup. So I actually had to go in here and enable the hands-free power tailgate because it was disabled. So found that pretty easily. Driver assistance setup. So this, of course, is all of the safety settings for the vehicle. So you got forward collision warning, distance you can adjust. Here we go. So the ACC, I think that's active collision something. Forward vehicle detect beep. Cause the system to beep when the system detects a vehicle or when the vehicle goes out of the ACC range. Interesting. Okay, so that's maybe the active cruise control, I guess, is what the ACC stands for. Sure. All right. Road departure mitigation. So we have normal and wide and warning only. Of course, we'd leave that on normal. And then blind spot information. Let's see what that is. So audible and visual alert. No assistance here, unfortunately, but at least you do get an audio and visual alert when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. We can also enable and disable the wireless charger from here as well, which is currently on. So I'd say that this, guys, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because honestly, there's a lot to talk about here. But it's good to see that the settings are easy to find and make sense. I mean, it's not a very difficult system to use. It's actually pretty well laid out. You also have access to SMS messages directly from here, so you don't necessarily need to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. For that, you can use the built-in system as well. System updates, which is kind of cool to see. It looks like there might be an update, and we can do that via wireless or via USB, so that's cool. So kind of over-the-air updates, but you probably just have to connect it to a wireless source. And then File Manager, interesting. Let's have a look at that real quick. Okay, so you can actually transfer content, presumably from a USB stick, if you want to put some, maybe music or something like that, on the stereo itself. Then we have an all apps section, so we can kind of go through and see all the different things that this system is capable of doing. So pretty good system, not bad at all. I've got no gripes. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so I think I'll end off the video there. One thing I did forget to mention was that it does seem to have a pretty reasonable audio system. I can see tweeters, and I'm pretty sure there's a subwoofer in the back, although I don't see any naming on the system, so I don't know what brand it is. But it sounds pretty good. I tried it out as well, and it pumps bass pretty good. So whether or not that's a subwoofer, I don't know. Maybe you can leave a comment below in the comment section. Let me know. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you have any questions, I'm not going to be able to answer. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead and place a comment below with your question. I'll do my best to answer it, even though I don't necessarily sell Honda vehicles unless they're used. I will still try my best to answer your question. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for the support. And stay tuned for future videos by clicking the bell icon. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Again, thank you. And have a wonderful, wonderful day and a very Merry Christmas. Take care.